Is your family jacked up like mine? Is your family a mess? And my family's going to go, what?
As followers of Jesus today, we know that God says the vengeance is mine.
Legend just had to do a family tree for his college course.
He did. Dwayne, you weren't in it. Sorry, man.
No.
This was a Christmas movie, so everything works out in the Christmas movie.
The example.
The story today from Genesis chapter 38. It's a doozy, Dwayne. It's a doozy.
Sometimes waiting on God is like trying to find cell reception in the middle of nowhere. No bars. That's infuriating. I mean, look at this place. You'd think they'd have better reception out here. Hello? Is that snow? Oh, goody. Or maybe that word from God is like waiting on a text reply. The worst. It's those 3 little dots. All I needed was a quick response, but they just keep going and going and going. What are you doing? Are you recapping the Count of Monte Cristo? I just need an answer. Is it cell phone coverage? Is it me personally? Is it you? Is it me? I don't know.
Answer me!
Or maybe waiting on God is like trying to get reception in an underground tunnel. Over 2,000 years ago, God's people were also waiting. They were literally for hundreds of years waiting for God to give them a message, an answer. Previously, God found ways to communicate, whether it be a burning bush, a pillar of fire, prophets and kings, and now nothing. It was like they knew he was there, but there was like a lost connection, you know? Have you ever felt like that? Deafening silence in your hour of need. And even in that silence, with only 3 little dots to hold on to and 1 bar of hope, we are reminded why we celebrate Christmas. For unto us a child is born, our Messiah. And do you know what that means for us? And he will never leave you.
Happy Sunday, everybody. My name is Scott Middenall. I do not have a real sword, but I'm going to have it all day. So, hey, we might talk about the fruit of the Spirit. We could also talk about the sword of, what was it, Holly? I forgot.
Sword of the
Fruit
Spirit
of the Spirit is
fruit
one
of the Spirit.
thing.
No, it's not.
This is the armor of God.
Armor of God.
This is the sword of the Spirit.
Good thing that's
Fruit
not the
of the
topic.
Spirit
Merry
is
Christmas.
one
Ho, ho, ho.
thing. Hi, everybody. Fruit of the Spirit or armor of God.
Yeah, you're looking
2 different things.
You're looking pretty. You're looking real nice with that coffee mug right there. I like it. That's
Yay.
Holly, everyone. Thanks
Yay
for
for
tuning
coffee.
in. We are talking about family Christmas trees, but family trees actually, not Christmas trees, but family trees. You got one? Is your family jacked up like mine? Is your family a mess? And my family's gonna go, what? But come on, let's be honest. All of our families are dysfunctional. We are poster families for dysfunctional. Let's bring in Lily.
Hey.
How we doing, Lil?
Great.
You're looking.
I have a family tree too.
Yeah. Is it dysfunctional?
Yeah.
Do you feel weird saying that online?
No.
You don't? You looking elfin today.
Okay.
You feel it?
You're looking like you're packing a sword.
I'm packing.
Although it doesn't look like a sword at
No,
all.
it's not. It's a rail to a 1 wheel. It's been sitting here. It's just now all of a sudden become a thing that I don't know why I'm doing it. Dwayne, how we doing down there in the SIP? I hope you're doing well. Let's check in with Dwayne in his Christmas shirt. He's the only one rolling with the bear on his shirt. It's nice.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
It's very
Merry
festive.
Christmas.
Now, have you had that on all day, or are you just having it on for the experience for all our viewers today, Dwayne?
I have it on for the experience.
So you're
I have
gonna
it
take
on
it
for the
off
experience.
after this? Is that what we're?
I am. I'm going to crawl underneath the house and do some plumbing. So definitely don't want to.
Yeah, don't
ruin
mess up the
this.
Christmas.
We're all
Merry
going to do that,
Christmas.
Dwayne. I don't know why you think it's only you doing that. We're all going to be rolling underneath our houses
Crawl
later.
under a house.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that, Dwayne.
I
Exciting
hope y'all don't have to
Friday.
crawl into the house. That would be y'all living on a slab. So that's one thing. So
Yeah, that'd be weird. Just crawling under our basement. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Wish the best of you for you.
For
under
you.
the
Merry
house.
Christmas, ho, 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 to you underneath your house, Dwayne. We'd like a before picture and after picture of you. see what you look like. Actually, we can use this as before. We'll have an after a little bit later, a little bit messy, a little bit dirty. But hey, today we're excited about this topic. We're talking about family trees, like our past, our ancestors. We're not going to go that far, but Dwayne, have you ever done that? What is it called where you send in like your DNA and they tell you?
Ancestry.com.
Yeah, have you ever done Ancestry.com? You haven't?
I have not.
Do you want to do it?
Not particularly.
No?
Like, I don't know. Like, I've sat down with like my grandmother and like we've talked about like the history and like that. That's interested me in the past. Like, I don't know. Like,
but you don't want to send in your DNA. They might clone you,
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's not a fear from that. It's just
Have you ever seen
better ways of spending money?
Ooh, okay, all right. I have no idea how it costs. Lil, will you just Google it for us? How much does it cost? And then, Holly, have you ever wanted to do that?
$99.95. The only time I really thought about doing it was not that long ago when we watched a Christmas movie that was about like family tree, and she sent in the main character and found a real family. Remember that one?
Yeah, what?
It's a good one.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it works. So
And
I don't think all of a sudden you're like connected with a long lost family.
No. This was a Christmas movie, so everything works out in the Christmas movie.
Right.
I'm just saying because of that, then I thought to myself, that'd be kind of interesting what my ancestors look like or were, what they did.
What if it turned out to be like Back to the Future 3? And that you go backwards and you see your family and you looked identical to them.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's weird. Okay, how about Lil?
It's like $100.
$100?
You can get a monthly membership too.
Wait, what do I need a monthly membership for?
I don't know.
Does that make any sense to you, Dwayne, to have a monthly membership to this thing?
I mean, history, it's moving. It's you got to keep up with it. No.
Every day.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
No, but $100.
Legend just had to do a family tree for his college course.
He did. Dwayne, you weren't in it. Sorry, man.
No.
You're a good friend.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Once we get to heaven, like
then it's we're all
brothers.
together.
Yeah,
we're brothers. You throwing out a Christian phrase. We're brothers in Christ.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah, for sure. It's weird to say, but it's true. Okay, so I have that's not in my notes to start off with that, but and we're not even sponsored by, what is it, Ancestry.com? Maybe you should gift this to people, like then they'll find out who you're. I don't know. I have no desire to do it. Even when I watch the commercials, I'm not like intrigued by that. Put in the chat if you're intrigued by it. It's cool if you are. Like it's not shameful. It'd be kind of exciting to see if you like, I would hope, like if I was a hoping man and I sent it in, that I was like some Viking family. That'd be awesome.
You're not a Viking family.
What? I could totally be. Look at this beard. Totally could be Viking family. That'd be awesome. That would be so cool.
Wow.
Or the other, if they couldn't do that, Native American would be sweet, like some sweet.
Don't you already know that you have that in you?
I do, yeah. But what if it was
know more?
Yeah, what if it was like Sitting Bull was like my grandpa to the third power? I don't know what that means actually when I say third power.
How much is your great grandmother?
What does that mean? What did I just say about my grandpa Sitting Bull? Anyone? They're all speechless here. They're looking around. No one knows.
We're confused.
What?
He would be much farther than the third power.
How do you know that?
Because
How do you know that? Dwayne, what's third power mean? I dropped my sword, by the way.
what year was that when we've listened to that book?
I'm not... Dwayne, what's third power mean? Do you know?
Third power. Like,
I don't think that's the right
use
of it.
years. That
Yeah.
It's the wrong use? Third degree?
Yeah.
Okay.
You would probably just want to say generation.
Third generation? Oh, is that what it means? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you don't use...
We've wandered too deep into a
To
topic
the
we have
power.
no business being in right now. That's for
I
sure.
just ordered you your Christmas.
No experts.
No experts here.
Ancestry.com.
Okay, no, I don't want anything to do with that. They'll clone me. They can't be
You're
two of me
gonna
running
like it.
around this
No,
world.
they
It'd be
won't.
You're
weird.
going to open it up and you're going to be like, thank you so much.
Yeah, never.
You would still do it.
I actually
would?
got a gift card for you.
Well, that would
for
be rude. That'd be rude not to use somebody's
I
gift.
think that you would be intrigued, and they don't clone you.
Yeah, how do you
That's
know?
a
Do you
weird
work for them?
conspiracy. No,
You
my
work for them?
people in my family have done it.
So you already
They're
know
not
you're
cloned in the world.
How do you know that? You only know it if you're bumped into their clone.
Sounds conspiracy like.
I have no idea. I don't think that's even possible to clone. Anyways, we're either gaining people right now or we're losing people real fast. We are a YouTube channel that exists to inspire people to make their life better and to make the world a better place by pointing them to Jesus. Okay, we'll always go to Jesus. We had a first-time guest, Dwayne, on Sunday, and they were blown away we talked about Jesus. They're like, most churches don't talk about Jesus. I don't know if that's true or not, but I was like, what? Like, a Christian-based church, you're kind of founded and grounded into Jesus. I don't know. It's crazy. But we're going to go to Matthew chapter 1 because he kicks off the Christmas story in the most unlikely way. In what way is that, Lily?
With a lineage.
A lineage? What would be another way of saying that?
Lineage with a family tree.
Ancestry, family tree.
Yeah, the generations before the one he's trying to highlight.
So
It would be people to the power of 1,000 or
No, it would not.
power of...
What? Now you're talking craziness. You don't even...
You started it.
Well, I knew what I was talking
The
about.
power thing.
Okay, so we're going to go to Matthew chapter 1. Remember last week I said to those in the studio, I said, you got to read it, and then you got to go, who was the most shocking person you read in Matthew chapter 1? I don't know if you did that. But here we go. This is how Matthew starts it. Matthew chapter 1. This is a record of the ancestors of Jesus the Messiah, a descendant of David and of Abraham. So it's a pretty big deal that he's starting out with those two guys because in a Jewish culture, Abraham, David, kind of your go-to people. It's kind of like if you're going to bring up basketball. Dwayne, if you were going to talk about basketball, who would be most likely maybe your top? I'm going to give you 3 because I feel like 2 is just not right. Who would be your top 3 people you would talk about if you're going to talk about the history of basketball?
The history of basketball?
Yeah, just like you're trying to...
John Wooden.
Okay.
I mean, you can go Michael Jordan.
Okay. Now we got
Closer.
I don't even know who John Woodham
Michael
is.
Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Who else would you say?
Larry Bird. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Knowing things.
Yeah. Well, I picked a sport that Dwayne doesn't dive into very much. It's not his world. But you're doing well.
John Wooden. You know who that is?
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
No. I don't know who that is. That's crazy
He's
talk
a
right
legendary basketball player and coach.
there. Did you just look it up?
I did.
She was Googling it, Dwayne.
I had heard the name, but I was like, I don't know I don't know who he played for.
Still don't know
He's
who
the coach
he
at
played for.
UCLA. UCLA won like 10 national championships.
Okay.
Like very
Who did he play
decorated.
What was his nickname, Dwayne?
I don't know.
It was Dunkmeister.
Dunkmeister? Nice.
Dunkmeister.
He was the Wizard of Westwood.
I don't think the dunk was around. Anyways, I'm going back to, we're going to be off topic all day today. Clearly, we're 10 minutes in today and we haven't even stayed in one. It's going to be good. Christmas, it's this the excitement of Christmas. It just does this to you. You just kind of get off, you embrace the energy. Hopefully you're doing the same where you are. Okay, anyways, we're going to the record of Jesus' ancestors, his family tree.
Wait, why do we go to the basketball example?
Because he uses
when you go to
David and
basketball,
Abraham.
when we go to basketball, if you're going to talk about it as a holistic view of it, you're going to name things like Michael Jordan because a lot of people go, I know who Jordan is. Larry Bird, look at you. You know nothing about basketball and you pick Larry Bird.
I know a few things about basketball.
Yeah, Larry Bird.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. You go Magic Johnson. You would go, whoever
Those
Dwayne
are
said, the Dunkster,
John
the
Wooden.
Dunksmeister. And then you would go, if you're going to bring in the current generation a little bit more, you'd bring in
Stephen Curry.
LeBron James, Steph
LeBron
Curry.
James, Steph Curry-ish. You would bring in the Black Mamba.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, look at you.
She
I
knows
know basketball.
She knows.
Wow. Lily, your stock is rising. So, all right, so when you talk about a sport, you're going to bring in names from the past that most likely people would be able to identify. So here's Matthew.
The icons.
Yeah, he's trying to give an account of Jesus. He's trying to make sure everybody knows he's the Messiah. And here's a record of his ancestry of Jesus, a descendant of David and Abraham, which is a pretty big deal because the prophecy said that the Messiah would be through the house of David, and God, through a prophecy through Abraham, said that Abraham would bless many generations. Okay, so these are big deals. But none of these names really, these are all stars when we talk about it, but when you come to perfect people, these two are not perfect. What is one of the biggest things that stand out to you? Dwayne, we're going to Dwayne. I was going to go to Lily, but she's looking so elfy right now. I was going to be kind to her. Going to you, Dwayne.
I don't even know what you mean when you say that.
What?
Elfie?
Yeah, you got a stocking cap on.
Like
You're-
she looks like an elf?
Yeah.
Like,
She's hiding
So
pointed
because
ears.
of that, you're being kind?
Kind, yeah. I looked at you.
Well, I'm going to wear a stocking cap every day of my life.
Wow.
I would like kindness every day.
All right, let's do it.
wait, you're being kind by not going to her?
Yeah, I'm going to Dwayne.
Oh.
Now I forgot my question for Dwayne.
Why
Everyone's distracted.
do they have a bad reputation? I'm following.
Why
David, Abraham.
Abraham, why is Abraham what's one thing that stands out about Abraham that like gets him is like that dude is pretty messed up. Let's see if you can get it. It's a quiz.
I mean, wasn't it? I think it was twice. It was 2 times that they went into a foreign country and like he deceived the ruler that Sarah was his sister.
Yeah, ding, 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 ding. That's jacked up. Okay, that's complicated. He pretty much gave permission for these people to sleep with his current wife because he said it was his sister. I mean, I don't know. That's weird. I can never picture a scenario where I would do that to Holly. Like, oh, no, that's my sister. However, people have asked if we are brothers and sisters at times, haven't they?
They did on our honeymoon.
On our honeymoon.
That's awkward.
That was weird.
That's weird.
We were in the pool. I remember. I'll never forget that. And then I looked at her. I was like, oh, she does kind of look like me. So then our first year of
No,
Christmas.
I looked at the person. I said, brother and sister should not be sitting like this.
That's what you said?
Like I was like sitting in between your legs.
Yeah, it was our
like,
honeymoon.
Like I was. We were,
I don't think you need to describe it.
Anyways.
It's our honeymoon. I think they got it.
You're
Okay,
weird.
we got it.
Too much information, Lo? Oh, just wait. Wait, if you think
No,
that's
it's
too
not.
much, wait till we get to the
dive
story.
into
We get the example.
The story today from Genesis chapter 38. It's a doozy, Dwayne. It's a doozy. It's one of those it's a head scratcher. What is this doing in the Holy Bible? Genesis chapter 38. But we're right now in Matthew chapter 1. So Abraham, I don't know what he was thinking, but lies, says to hey, this is my sister, have your way. Now, it works out where he catches on, wait, you lied to me, duped me. That's pretty messed up. Not exactly ethical, moral. How about David? Lil, now we come to you.
Killed some people, slept with some women when he was not supposed to.
Wow.
You know.
You just say it like it's
All
just matter
kinds
of
of
fact.
things.
Yeah. I mean, on the great list of things don't do, those are some doozies, okay? That's like up there. It's like, okay, maybe now if you're going to do a little bit of land of Earth stuff, compare your life to somebody else, and you're going, well, I'm not so bad. I'm not done what David did. I've definitely not done what Abraham's done. That's jacked up. Does he even love his wife? Here's the deal. This is Jesus's family tree. And we're going to talk about Jesus' family tree today because I think it matters. I think when we talk about the Christmas story, we get sucked into the way in the manger side of stuff. And it's wonderful. And it's beautiful. And it's got all the heart-filled, pulley things that make you feel ooey gooey and just excited. And it's wonderful. But you got to also remember why the Messiah was coming. For sinners like you and like me. And that's what we're going to look at. Like, I think Matthew does such a great job. He's not trying to paint a picture that it's all hunky-dory and it's all good to go. He's giving, like, these are the people that are related to Jesus. Look at his family tree. Jesus was born into a hot mess family, which should give us all some reserve about our family going, awesome. I thought my family was jacked up, but I have no family member that's done that. Now, maybe you go way back and just wait till we get to his family tree. There's some really, really messed up people. But I gotta throw out a term. I asked Dwayne off camera, and maybe none of you have heard it before. It's a term to grade ancient documents for its validity, to see if it's got truth in it, if it's an accurate piece of ancient writing. In one of those terms, it was developed in 1899 was the first time we've used it. It's one of those ways to grade the scriptures, which is the criterion of embarrassment. I asked Dwayne, you've never heard this before, have you?
I have not.
Okay. Do you have my notes in front of you right now? Just to see if you're going to be cheating here or not. Okay, great. What do you think? Because we didn't explain it, did we, Lil?
No.
We didn't. Okay. So based on this, Dwayne, what do you think the criterion of embarrassment, how is this a filter for ancient writing? Where do you think it's headed?
Like, I I don't know.
He doesn't know.
It's like, because embarrassment, like, okay, we think of embarrassment. I think of embarrassment. It's like, if this comes out, then I would be embarrassed or what. So I guess it's the degree of embarrassment. I don't know. I can't draw the parallels between embarrassment and then the criteria for like whether it's something that's true.
True. Okay. I get you. It's tough. It's a toughie because it's not something we throw around in our daily readings, right? This is for ancient pieces of material. Here's what it is. When you look it up, you can Google it. It's all over the place. So I'm not making this up. This isn't just reserved for the Bible. It's reserved for ancient writings. We use it a lot in the Bible side of things because people are always trying to combat, is it real? Is it valid? So here we go. If an account is embarrassing, this is what the criterion of embarrassment is. If the account is embarrassing, it is likely to be true. It's a simple idea. Nobody tells stories to make themselves look bad, nor do they tell stories making themselves look bad to try to prove what they're trying to convey is historically true. They would omit the embarrassing pieces because it doesn't matter to the historical facts. But the Bible is jam-packed with embarrassing details. Think about Peter and the way when he writes. He's got all the embarrassing things in there. He did not need to add those in there. That's what they're saying adds to the fact that it's a true document. When you come to Matthew's writing here, he's going to put the embarrassing things. Come on, all of you know this to be true. And now I got to be careful because my family watches this online, and I'm not talking about my siblings in my next statement. I'm just talking about there are some family members in my ancestry that I would, if I was writing a Gina, I might omit them because of their behavior, their addictions, and the way they chose to live life or how they raise their children. It would just be, I don't need to put that in there. That doesn't help the story move along. But when you use the criterion of embarrassment to now measure, okay, here we go. Matthew is about to give great detail on the lineage, the tree of, I almost said the tree of life, but the family tree of Jesus, and it's embarrassing.
So you're saying the more embarrassing it is, the more better likely it is, the more likely it is to be true.
Right. of the authors.
I mean, there's stories that I've been like to my sister, don't ever tell anybody that story.
Right. Well, now we're talking about in the author's cases, right? When the authors are writing, it's fine. Like, Lily knows this to be true, and she hates this. That I'm okay telling her stories inside teachings all the time. Because they don't embarrass me, they embarrass her, and she's like, I don't know. But
this is like talking about like a historical, like the Bible's a history book. Like,
right, it's easier to talk about other people's embarrassment because it doesn't impact you.
Interesting.
Than yourselves when writing in documentation, especially ancient documents that you're still trying to figure out. You're trying to figure out how to make it, or decide if it's real. I hope this is making sense. Dwayne, is this coming across right?
Mm-hmm.
You tracking with me? So. I am. In light of how Matthew kicks off his book of the Bible, he doesn't start with away in the manger. He doesn't talk about 3 wise men come 3 years later. He doesn't talk about King Herod. He doesn't talk about the angel's announcement. He just goes straight at it. Let me give you the records of the ancestors of Jesus the Messiah, because he wants people to know this is the Messiah. You do not have, as a Jewish group of people, you do not need to wait any longer. The Messiah has come. And because there were prophecies that were in the Old Testament that were talking about the Messiah would come through these group of people, these families, he writes it all down. Now, it's totally Matthew. This is Matthew. Like, he's a detail-oriented guy. This is not how I would start my story. I would totally start my story. I wouldn't start my story like John either. It'd probably be like Luke, where he actually tells the story like, an angel appeared and said, don't freak out, people. It's okay. Like, I like that way. I don't really, this lineage thing, it's not my cup of tea until I deep dove in it.
Until you dive into it.
Then I dove in it. I was like, this is good. But now I'm 46-year-old, when I was 16, I was like, I don't care about all these names. Lily makes fun of me all the time. I can't pronounce most of them. This is the way it goes. So I'm glad we start off with Abraham. But let's get into it. Here is the family tree of our Messiah, Jesus. And this is how Matthew begins the Christmas story. Going in verse 2 of Matthew chapter 1. Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers. Now, let's just pause there for a second because it does go on. We've just listed off some massive people in the Bible. But I got to pause because we get to Jacob. And Jacob and Judah, Judah's not the brother you're going to pick or the son from Jacob you're probably not going to pick because Judah was a misfit. Holly, do you know who Judah is? One of 11 brothers to who?
Joseph, right?
Yes, yeah. Joseph. Who is Joseph in the Bible, Dwayne?
Joseph in the coat of many colors.
Okay.
Not Joseph and Mary.
Not Joseph and Mary.
Different
Very confusing.
Joseph.
Don't merge those two stories. It's weird. Okay, but Joseph in Genesis, he was the guy that Jacob, ding ding, in Jesus' lineage here, Jacob loved Joseph more and gave him an awesome piece of clothing. And his brothers got real jealous. Judah makes it into the lineage of Jesus, not Joseph.
Why not?
Well, there you go. Why would you not do that? If you're writing the lineage, wouldn't you choose to go, Lily? Would you not choose to go the Joseph route and not the Judah
more
route?
well-known one?
Well, I think that Joseph is like when you read that whole story, he's the one you're rooting for, kind of thing, and they reconcile in the end. But Judah was part of Joseph being thrown into slavery, and
So
like he's the antagonist in a sense, like
the bully.
He's the bully, along with his brothers.
Yeah,
and there's a whole lot of history in that family in general, because aren't those who created the 12 tribes of Israel?
From there. It comes from there. Yeah. Okay.
So
there's a lot of history here, but Matthew
to include Judah.
He includes Judah, which is just interesting. I mean, if you're writing to make a compelling story, this is again, we're using the criterion of embarrassment. This is embarrassing. You're not picking this guy who.
Oh, so that's why Judas picked.
Yeah, because it adds to the like, hey, I'm going to go the unlikely route. I'm going to choose a guy that this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to prove the Messiah. When Matthew's writing this and we get a hold of it and read it today, you're starting to go, oh man, look at this is jacked up. What I hope you get out of today is that your family is jacked up. So is Jesus, and Jesus came to save all of it and to redeem it. What does the word redeem mean, Lil?
It means to save and like make new. So when you redeem something, it's like free.
Okay, I think we're building towards something here. Let's Dwayne, give me building off what Lily's got there. What does it mean to be redeemed? Like, because when I say he redeems these family trees that are messed up, what am I saying? What's the implication? Holly, can you give us a real definition of redeem, please? What do you got, Dwayne? How would you explain to redeem?
To redeem, to clean up the mess.
To clean up the mess. Okay. Now, like, can I get can you give me, Lil, right off our desk over there, those tickets that we're printing? We're doing an ice skating event locally here where we're going to pay for people to skate. Dwayne, were you ever here when we did this?
No.
You weren't. Well, this is one of our fun events that we love to do. But it's literally, we're going to go, and we've printed these off. We've worked with a local skating rink here. It's outdoor. It's really Christmassy. It's got a good vibe. And we've made these cards here, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's wonderful. The red side's an invite. This side is a ticket that they're just going to fold off, bend, and then they redeem this. They turn it in for the actual skates. This means nothing until it's redeemed. Right? I got to redeem this to get what I need. Holly, what does the definition of redeem mean?
There's a couple. It says compensate for the faults or bad aspects of something, or gain or regain possession of something in exchange for a payment.
Okay. So Jesus came to redeem because the payment was his life. He died on a cross. When he died and rose again, he redeems all the sinful things in our lives when we activate that invitation to follow him. It's got to be part of that activation. Again, I'm not using theological words because I try to make it very easy and applicable to all of us. So we're trying to redeem. Jesus is the ticket, but you got to redeem it. This is no good unless you go redeem it for the skates. Turn it in. Activate this. This is all in this is packed in free rental. This is wonderful. But you aren't getting skates unless you redeem it. You're not getting the redeeming qualities of Jesus in your story, your family tree, unless you activate, you turn in the invitation back into Jesus and say, I want to follow you. You are the Messiah who came to forgive me of my sins and my past. And Jesus knows something about jacked up pasts because he came from one. So I love how Matthew chooses Judah. Because if I'm writing it, I'm going Joseph. That story's way better. No one's writing plays about Judah, right? Lily, you're kind of professional play attender.
I've never seen one about Judah.
Never. Do you even know when you go to see, and Dwayne, you were saying it's Joseph in the technical colored coat, that's the name of the play or something like that. Do they ever even make reference to Judah? Or is it just the 11 brothers throw him into slavery?
Yeah,
They do?
Just 11 brothers.
The 11 brothers.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, the story's in it, but we just skip over Judah. But Matthew's trying to spotlight Judah after already Abraham's story, messy guy. Jacob, he wrestled. Isn't Jacob the guy that wrestled with God?
His name means the deceiver.
Complicated. And then he walks with a limp. I mean, this is how Jesus' lineage starts. It's just crazy.
His brother, yeah.
Right? Like, I'm just saying. What were you going to say, Dwayne?
No, like Jacob and Esau.
Yeah.
Like how he deceived. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this whole Jacob isn't a hero by any stretch of the imagination. You're not going, oh, yeah, it makes sense. Jesus come for this because it's a bunch of superheroes behind him. And wow, look at that lineage. This is really wealthy, well-known. They're well known for being morons. That's what they're well known for in the history. And this is Jesus' family tree, which also tells you that just because your family tree might have addictions in it and failed marriages and a whole list of things doesn't mean that's your story. Don't buy that. That's a lie from the enemy trying to make you think your life is going to go a certain direction because of your family tree. Jesus is saying, hey, listen, I walked into my family tree. It's complicated. And wait till you get to the more people. I'm spending so much time on these people. I want to get to one name that we just go right over. So we got Judah and his brothers. Judah was the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar. Enter in the first woman in Jesus's lineage. And you got to pause there. You got to go, why all of a sudden is a woman popping up into the lineage? Because that's odd. Do you know why this is odd, Dwayne?
Yeah, because it's like the women were not held in high regard. Like they were just, it was a very patriarch heavy society.
Yeah, that's a fair way of putting it. I was trying to explain that to Lily the other day in the office, trying to use kings and queens, but, you know, when you're not having kings and queens, but the bloodline always flowed through the father. That's really how it goes, is in ancient times.
Yeah, and in all the genealogies throughout the Old Testament, there aren't women in them. So it was uncommon for people, Jewish people, to read this text and think back to their history books from their people and see a woman in the lineage because it was all men.
Right. So when you're in ancient times reading, it's like, wait, hold on, this is going to create pause. Let's just be honest. You probably are not reading Matthew chapter 1 at the Christmas time. You're like, I'm going to skip over that. Matthew, that's cool, all the names, why do I care?
Maybe we'll sit around the table and read it.
Maybe we will, but I doubt it. Because then all of a sudden, especially if you did that as a parent, and the kids go, well, who's Tamar? Well, let's just go to Genesis chapter 38 and let's learn about who Tamar is, okay? Because this is wild. Tamar makes it into Jesus' deal, and listen to what she does. This is wild, okay? The Tamar story intersects Joseph's narrative. So when you're reading in Genesis and you've got the story of Joseph, he's been sold into slavery. He is been bought a couple times. He's in jail. He's interpreted a couple dreams and here and there. All of a sudden, the story of Tamar pops up about a brother, Judah, who is responsible for being a vicious brother to throw hate him so much that he would throw him into a cistern, just like a side of the road to die. And all of a sudden, Tamar's story intersects Joseph's narrative with an absolute bizarre story regarding Joseph's brother. Okay, so here we go. Genesis chapter 38, verse 6. We're going to read this. This is like, when we talk about like this is definitely a PG-13, maybe a little bit stronger than PG-13 rating in the scripture. This is one of the stories like, why is this in here kind of deal? Like you just buzz over it. Lily's like, I kind of remember this story when I read through the Bible in 1 year. It's one of those stories you just go, I can't make heads or tails of this. Why is this? In your New Old Testament is packed full of these kind of stories. I could shock you and wow you with some wild stuff. And that pause was there with me deciding if I was going to do it. And I'm not. We're just going to get to Genesis 38, chapter 6. Here we go. In the course of time, Judah arranged for his firstborn to marry a young woman named Tamar. But was a wicked man in the Lord's sight, so the Lord took his life. Then Judah said to brother Owen, go and marry Tamar. As our law requires for the brother of a man who has died, he must produce an heir for your brother. Weird story already. Packed full of a lot of questions. Why? Why would God take a life of somebody who's wicked? That's how the Old Testament. The Old Testament is really a setup to reveal the characteristics of God. We get to learn a lot about God's personality through the Old Testament and how we should behave and interact with God. And we got to understand that God is a just God, that he's not vengeful. We read a couple weeks ago where God says, I am a patient God, a loving God. But then when you do cross God, it's like, oh my goodness. So we got to understand the characteristics of God is being revealed in this. So you got to ask yourself the question, why is this in there? Remember, this is Jesus's lineage. His ancestors. This is his family. This is the shoulders he stands on. So according to the law, if you don't have a child yet and there's another brother, you produce, you're to give that your sister-in-law, you're to give them a child, and that child becomes the heir. So to paint the picture, to make it like understandable, in our culture we don't really function like this at all, but it would be like this. Legend is our firstborn. He would get everything. Okay, he is the heir to all of the things that I own. Obviously, Holly owns it, but we're using it in the ancient days. Whatever I own would go to Legend. If Legend was passed away, it would go to Epic. If Epic passes away, it would go to Inspire. It would skip Icon and Historic, our two daughters, and go to Inspire. It was always going to go to the next older boy. If wife of brother doesn't have a son, the next brother is to give a heir for their older brother's stuff. Okay, I remember painting the picture, right? You guys got this? You're tracking what the law is saying needs to be done, because then the woman, right, she didn't have any rights to it. It needed to go to somebody. And if there is no kids to give it to, it goes to the older brother, the next oldest brother. So you can see what happens in this story at verse 9. But Owen was not willing to have a child who would not be his own heir. So whenever he did have intercourse with his brother's wife, he spilled the semen out on the ground. I told you it's PG-13 or something more than that. I hope you're following along, because somebody's going to go, did he make that up? No, that is written in the good news, Genesis chapter 38, okay? You should read your Bible. You're going to get shocked a lot of times. Here we go. So he was unwilling to produce an heir with her. This prevented her from having a child who would belong to his brother, but the Lord considered it evil for Owen to deny a child to his dead brother, so the Lord took Owen's life too. Boom. Judah's two oldest boys dead. Now he gets kind of irritated in the scenario, and he begins to think it's Tamar's fault. He's not taking responsibility that his boys are just evil and messed up and wouldn't follow the law of the day. And that's how it was determined if you were a wicked person or not, if you would follow the law. So they're not following the law. So Judah's left with the decision because he's got one more boy. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, go back to your parents' home and remain a widow until my son, Selah? What'd you say?
Sheila
is old enough to marry you. Okay, that sounds really nice of this guy, right? He's like, hey, I got one more boy. When he's of age, you can have him. You're 2 for 2 right now. Somehow my boys are dying, but I'm going to give you a third chance. But Scripture says, but Judah didn't really intend to do this because he was afraid Shelah would also die, so like his 2 brothers. So Tamar went back to live in her father's home. Big deal. This is not the goal, the target for any human of that culture. No one wants to go back to live with their parents because of failed marriages, death, being a widow. In that culture, until you remarried, you wore widow's clothing. I don't know what that looked like exactly, but they had to function differently. So she sent back towns away from where Judah was with his son. Some years later, Judah's wife died. After a time of mourning was over, Judah and his friend Herar, in Elamti, I don't know, like
The
Adulamite.
Sorry, thank you. Went up to Timah to supervise the shearing of sheep. Someone told Tamar, look, your father-in-law is going up to Timah to shear his sheep. She now knows where he's going, her father-in-law. She knows where he'll be. Oh, man, she's about to get crafty. She's about to come up with a plan. Now, it's a jacked up, messy plan.
So do you think by this time Shelah was supposed to be ready to marry her?
I'm going to assume by the behavior of Tamar here, the answer is yes.
And Tamar had not heard from him? Or
yes,
he had not brought his 3rd son to her?
Yes.
So he's not keeping his end of the deal?
Yep. And he's not married any longer.
Well, his wife died.
Yeah, it's duly noted. So here's her plan. She comes with a crafty plan, Dwayne. She decides to dress up as a prostitute and go lure her father-in-law.
Well, obviously might be different dress as a prostitute than a widow, right?
Oh, yeah. I think so.
I mean, I would say they'd probably look very different.
I would think they would look different in our culture as well. So she's got this plan, Dwayne, to dress up as a prostitute, lure in her father-in-law. I mean, this sounds like a movie in the making. I mean, this is jacked up. Like, this is like if Tamar was sitting with us today, Dwayne, would you say, I like your plan, or you go, let's come up with a different one? What would because we call you the wisest, how would you counsel Tamar here, who she's going, I'm going to dress up as a prostitute, and I'm going to go get my father-in-law?
Yeah, I would say that, in the Bible, God is my revenge. God does justice for me. So, yeah, I definitely wouldn't have.
So you wouldn't recommend this?
No.
Which is
0 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
Do not. Yeah.
Which we got to pause in everyone's life out there that you've got these plans that you've made up on your own because you're waiting on God to do something, or you want to get even with somebody and you come up with some kind of plan that makes sense to you. If you're not running that by some wise counsel, you're about to do something stupid and probably jack up your family tree for the future versions of you. Okay. So I'm just saying, give pause, because Tamar is not about to do that. She's about to wreck this thing. And this is Jesus's lineage. Okay, I'm just saying, I just got to keep pointing that out. When you're comparing your families, how jacked up it is, this is taking the cake for me. I don't know. I've not heard anybody got this kind of story. But if you do, you got to remember that Jesus redeems things, okay? And he redeemed his own family story here. So she dresses up as a prostitute. She goes to the city where they're going to go overlook the shearing of the sheep. She goes to the city. Now, you got to know this, Dwayne. In the culture of this day and age, prostitution was not as frowned upon as it is in our culture. Prostitution, actually, there was a religious vibe attached to it, not to Israelites, but because they're in a different part. They're not in Jerusalem here. That stuff's not even in the story quite yet. They're in I think it's Canaan, somewhere around there. And their religious views was the more what's that word?
Prostitution?
No.
Prosecution?
No, I don't know.
Promiscuity.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you. The other
promiscuity.
The more of that happening, the more gods they served would bless their crops.
Ooh.
Sounds like a man-made religion to me. Anytime men get some kind of benefit out of it, you got your spidey sense guy going off going, hold on, somebody's gaining physical pleasure out of this. Sounds made up to me.
That's why you're saying prostitution was more
prevalent in this time period, not in Jewish culture, but the cultures around, because they were worshiping a God that the more you slept around, the more this God would bless your crops. I said this to Lily the other day. She's like, I don't understand. Why would they bless the crops? I was like, I don't know.
Well, I was like, they're just believing this.
Yeah.
Not
totally.
real.
Totally.
But then that's why men could say to women, hey, no, being a prostitute is actually a noble thing because
You're helping our whole society.
you're helping
Sounds
please the
manipulative.
gods. You're helping please the gods with your lifestyle. Craziness. Absolutely maddening when you read these things, right? Moving on in the story. So she dresses up as a prostitute. She meets Judah at the city gates. Okay, so we pick up the story. How much will you pay to have sex with me, Tamar asked him. She's going straight for
up.
it. Yeah, she's hidden her face. He doesn't know what she looks like. I'll send you a goat, a young goat from my flock, Judah promised. But what will you give me to guarantee you will send me the goat, she asked. What kind of guarantees do you want, he replied. She answered, leave me your identification seal and its cord and the walking stick you carry. Now, you're going, why? That's weird. You know how, like, in our cultures, we have driver's licenses and social security numbers, and when you fly, you have passports. These were their identification things, okay? So your walking stick was unique to you. If somebody had a walking stick, they come with your authority in these ancient days, so it's a big deal. When she's talking about, well, give me your cord, what'd she say? Give me your identification seal and its cord, so they would walk with a necklace that has your seal on it. You giving that to somebody else, you got two options. You either overthrew them and killed them and took it, or they've given it to you in a way of making a deal with you. Signifying that there is something more that they owe you, okay? So she's asking for these things, which is genius. I mean, Tamar, as jacked up as she is, she's genius in this. She's got she worked out this plan. Like we all, Dwayne included, we all like Survivor here. And remember a couple episodes, if you're a couple episodes behind, I'm sorry, I'm about to ruin something. But remember when they came up with, what was it, Operation Italy a couple weeks ago, Dwayne?
Yeah.
And it was a complicated plan, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was complicated because there were a lot of moving parts, right? A lot of human beings involved in said Operation Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So when you watch the episode, I mean, I was like, there's no way you're pulling this thing off. There's too many outside factors that you can't control. There's no way you're going to get this vote to go off in Operation Italy. Zero chance. I was shocked. Were you shocked that they were pulling off, or did you feel like, oh, they got this?
I was shocked. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like so many different things could go wrong.
And they didn't. It was impressive. Lily, how about you? Were you shocked that they pulled it off, or were you like, they got this?
Yeah, I was shocked. I mean, a lot had to fall into place.
A lot. I mean, we're talking about, what is there, 6 other people couldn't know about the plans or something like that, and then you had to execute things. It was 2 other people had to fake like they didn't know something, but they really didn't know. It was genius. It was well done. One of the best things I've ever seen. Well, we got Tamar putting together a plan that she had to execute every little piece of it in order
for it to all fall into place.
To work.
She could have been the sole survivor.
Yeah, she could have. Tamar, she's a woman I don't think you want to mess with. So we're going to get back to the story, okay? Because she gets it. They sleep together, and he leaves. Just adios. She leaves and goes home. A couple months later, Judah remembers, oh yeah, I got to get my driver's license back from that woman. I don't even know her name. I got to send a goat. So he takes his people and go, hey, will you go back to the city gates and go and find the prostitute? Because you're like, go find the prostitute. Like, the people knew where the prostitutes were. There weren't like heaps of them. It's just like, no, that's the prostitute. Go find. So he sends his people with the goat back to pay Tamar. And they go, hey, we're looking for the prostitute, the city prostitute, like we've never had a prostitute here, ever. We don't have those here. They don't play here. They don't function here. No, they're like, what? This is bizarre. News comes back to Judah. Hey, there's never, ever been a prostitute there. Well, he's like, forget it. She can keep all that stuff. I don't know who she is. I'm going to track her down. Weird. Weird. Okay, so about 3 months later, Genesis chapter 38, verse 24. About 3 months later, Judah was told, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has acted like a prostitute. And now, because of this, she's pregnant. Okay, I think if someone came to me and I was in Judah's spot, Spidey senses might be going off here for a second. Like, she acted like a prostitute. I was with a prostitute. But nope, he's not that sharp. Bring her out and let her be burned, Judah demanded. What? Like, this is extreme level stuff. But in that culture, if you, in a Jewish, remember, we're talking about a very young Jewish culture being developed here, in one of the laws where if you acted as a Jew, or an Israelite at the time, you acted as a prostitute as an Israelite, you could be burned. Violent, nasty, all kinds of stuff. So she is an Israelite woman. She acted as a prostitute, and now he's getting to discern, because it's a family member, determines the outcome of her life. Remember, this is Jesus' family tree, okay, everybody? I'm just trying to come back to you. Judah is one of those guys that made it into his lineage. This is, you read through it, Judah. This is one of his guys. He's saying Jesus related to him. You're like, what in the world? Continue on the story. Bring her out, burn her, Judah demands. But as they were taking her out to kill her, she sent this message to her father-in-law. The man who owns these things made me pregnant. Look closely. Whose seals and cords and walking sticks are these? What? It's like in the movie, music just changed. You're like, what just happened? What a smart girl. Dwayne, have you ever read this story of Tamar?
I have.
You have. When you get to this spot, you kind of start, I mean, it's all wrong. But you find yourself kind of rooting for Tamar here. You're like, dang. Wow. You've thought of everything. Or do you just say, nah, she's a messy girl, jacked up. I don't even understand this story. How do you process this story up to this spot, Dwayne?
It's just a messy situation.
A messy situation. Okay, yeah, I agree with that. I'm building on top of Dwayne's assessment. This is a messy situation. Somebody comes to you on a Sunday house just reading the story of Tamar and Judah. What do you make of it, Hal?
Well, it's like Judah hasn't really done a whole lot of great right things up until now, and now all of a sudden he's like, what? Someone was a prostitute? Burn her. Like, now he's gonna hold up what the law is or whatever.
Ooh, good point.
So it's kind of, I mean, they're both a mess. She's trying to protect herself and what she, along the line is owed.
Yeah, she took matters in her own hands.
He wasn't providing what he had promised to provide, and so she decided to say, hey, I'm gonna...
So does it sound like Holly and Dwayne are building a case that this is all okay, Lil?
I mean, I don't know, because she wanted justice and sought it for herself.
It was for herself. It wasn't for truth. It was for herself.
Right. So, I mean, as followers of Jesus today, we know that God says the vengeance is mine, and it's not ours to take. It's not ours to seek. It's ours to surrender when we are hurt by people and promises are broken. We need to surrender that to God and know that he's going to do what he's going to do in his time. And that probably doesn't mean smite the other person, but like we have to trust his plan and forgive those who hurt us. So I don't think that she followed those steps. I think she created her own plan.
I don't even think you need to use the word I don't think.
I know she didn't. Yeah. She made her own plan, and at the end of the day, probably made him look bad too.
Yeah, when it comes to your family, let's just address the elephant in the room, which that saying is for, it's a big thing in the room that everybody's trying to ignore, right? Which is your family issues. That you don't look forward to family get-togethers, all these things, because they have done all these heinously bad things, and you're building a case against why the family should kick them out, or the family should treat them this way. That is a sign, an indicator for you that you're taking matters into your own hands and not praying that God would soften their heart and be able to change them. You're trying to be the change agent instead of God. Tamar has taken this entire thing into her control, and it's just messy. Like, you're reading this as a story with no emotions attached to all of the people that are being hurt. Because in a moment, you already know this as the reader, and as I'm reading it to you, that Tamar is pregnant with Judah's son. But she doesn't, or he doesn't know that yet. And when you get the news, it's like, how messed up is this? That, wait, I'm your father-in-law, and now you're carrying my children. This, I mean, if there was Jerry Springer still around or at that time, they would have made it. They would have been the first ones on. Okay, here we go. So on her way to being killed, she says, look closely at the seal and the cord and the staff, because
Whose is it?
the Father owns these. Judah recognized them immediately in verse 26. Judah recognized them immediately and said, she is more righteous than I am, because I didn't arrange for her to marry my son Shelah. And Judah never slept with Tamar again, which is good to know.
Well done, Judah.
Yeah, well done. Yeah.
So did she have twins?
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. She does. Actually, I mean, we're not going to get there.
I was going to say, I
Yeah,
don't
but-
see that here.
No, because it's...
Are they
I would
twins?
not describe
Present?
her as righteous.
Yeah, that's the interesting
part,
thing.
That's
She's more righteous, though, because he's saying I'm bottom, okay? So you could, if you're going to have...
because she sought justice. She sought the right thing. Is that why she's more righteous?
Well, she's trying to make sure that she has an heir
Sure.
for his son.
Oh, okay.
It just
Right?
kind of seems like she wanted revenge.
It
But
does
I
feel
guess
that way.
if you assume that too, which is probably true, then
when you look at the culture of that, the heir, like having a son, having children, that is your livelihood. I mean,
Yeah.
that is like everything. That is the greatest thing.
But now, for Judah, I mean, again, we're kind of getting in the weeds here, but to give it of the whole view here, Judah now understands that everything that the oldest son had that went to the second son who died, now Shelah gets it all. All of that is
Yeah.
going to
To
this
Tamar.
child of Tamar. He gets that. And so,
So
she's been...
inevitably he took it away from his third son.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's rightfully this heir, which, again, it's messy. It's complicated. It's not done right. We're not trying to validate or thumbs up, woo, this is the way to do it. It's just the way the law worked in those days, and she was playing inside those rules, trying to make it happen herself. And Lily already alluded to it. It's a wild story at the end of it. Dwayne, do you know how this story ends? Like, it does end with her giving birth. Do you remember this part of the story?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, here's the nutshell version, and it's wild. The midwife is helping Tamar give birth. At this point, they realize that she's pregnant with twins. Perez, I believe, is the name of the one that sticks his arm out of the womb first. They put a red ribbon on his wrist, and he pulls his arm back in because they wanted to mark who was coming out first. And then he's born second, which creates a whole world of issues because it's like, well, he actually isn't the firstborn, but he's marked as the firstborn, which creates a whole family tension and a mess that continues on. We don't have time to unpack it, but that's how this is how the story goes and ends. And it sits right there in the middle of the story of Joseph.
On our way to in the lineage of Jesus.
And this is the story. This is how the journey to get to know who Jesus is. You got Tamar.
Interesting.
And it's interesting.
I think you can, when you come up with a plan, you can start to kind of remind yourself, is this Tamar's plan? Is this God's plan? Is this Tamar? Like, you can use it as a, like, am I just Tamaring? It can be like a verb.
Am I Tamaring this? Yeah.
My own plan?
In my own plan, which, again, your plans can be so crafty and be so great, but a well-executed plan like the A-Team says, oh, that's a well-executed plan,
Wow,
doesn't mean it's a righteous plan.
It's good.
It doesn't mean it's the right plan. Oftentimes, I find out that my plans are futile. They create messes. I have to apologize a lot. I've had to learn to apologize and then hug an individual. Like, I'm so sorry. You need more than just words. Okay, you need a hug. That's okay. I've learned these things, right? Like, but it's because I'm trying to execute my plans. And you're trying to do that oftentimes around the family tables. Oh, if they get their act together instead of just loving them. And here's the fact that I want you to get out of this, and this is the whole reason Matthew puts all this in here. Here it is. You want to know what it is? And you're like, why did we have to wait this so long? We wouldn't have had to hear about how this dude wouldn't sleep with her, and that was weird. Why that's in the Bible? Hey, it's just there. Is in Jesus' own words. We read it last week. I skipped over it. We're going to get Matthew's version about when Matthew was called to be a follower of Jesus. Jesus said, I have come to call not those who think they are righteous, but those who know they are sinners. I've come for those that are the messy, those that don't do it right, those that are selfish, those that are mean, those that are hateful, those that I just give the list. But it says, for those that know who are sinners. Those that realize they are sinners worship the best. Those that forget that we're all sinners and we're messed up and jacked up, and we look at tomorrow going, I'd never do that. But you got a kind of a tomorrow story in your life somewhere. And that you think that the family tree in your life, well, that individual, they did it way worse than me. At least I'm doing better than them. You're looking at it as that's the goal. Instead of grabbing double fist of a bunch of Jesus and becoming a follower of Jesus. Embracing the Messiah part. The Messiah part of Jesus is the redeeming part. To redeem you and I back into right standing before God. To be redeemed. Jesus, I love that he's a part of a messy, messy tree. And here's the deal. If you can call yourself a sinner, then you're invited to follow Jesus. But you got to get there. You can't go, well, they're more of, no, that game is a human-made game. This is you calling yourself, recognizing I am a sinner. Paul, one of the big contributors to the New Testament, he says, I am the chief of sinners. You might be a sinner, but I'm the best of the best, baby. Not that this is something to win, but he's trying to understand, I know that I am a sinner. I know I have sinned. And because I have sinned, I was invited to follow Jesus because that's the only way to clean this mess up. I wrote this after reading the Tamar story and just reading. How many people did we read in the lineage? Did anybody count? How many are we in here?
How many did we read?
Yeah, let's see. We're going to count it. Lily, help me count as I do it. You put your hands, just count it off. Okay, Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. You have 2 fingers out, but we're in 3.
But we read David.
Yeah, but that's he was just trying to recap. We're starting.
Okay,
Abraham is first.
Abraham, Isaac,
Jacob, Judah, and then
Perez and Zerah.
Yeah, but they're not in the lineage. And then Tamar. That gets kind of crazy to count, I suppose, because Judah is the father of Perez. Okay.
Yeah,
here we go. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. And Tamar is also in.
So what is that?
So it's 8.
8 people. We're only 8 people into his. And it keeps going.
Lineage. Woo!
It didn't take as long to get a bunch of sinners involved into Jesus, the line of Jesus.
7 people.
Somewhere around 7. Above 5, folks. We can confirm it's over 5,
It's
but no
not
more
that
than 8.
many people.
That's what we're
we
trying to
got
say.
to a mess of a situation. There's just not that many.
Which we should
Doesn't
find.
take a whole
Dwayne,
lot.
is it okay to find comfort in this? That Jesus' family tree is messy and jacked up? Is it okay to find comfort in that?
Yeah.
Why?
I think so.
Okay. Why? For those that are going, man, I was embarrassed by my family tree, but now I realize it's not that messed up. Why can't we find comfort in this? Why is it okay?
Well, I mean, I think for us personally, it's, it doesn't matter about where we come from. It doesn't matter our family. It doesn't matter, they don't have to be perfect, but it's our call. It's our accepting that redeeming grace that's given to sinners. So like it's encouraging, and it's also encouraging. It's like, these people, they messed up and I messed up, and like, I'm not discredited from being associated with Jesus.
Yeah. No, that's good.
You wrote that. Are you going to read what you wrote at the top of your notes in the green?
I guess not. Did you like it or something?
It was good. I think it.
Okay,
I
then
think
you
it kinda
read it.
sums this up, and
These are my words interpreted by Holly.
you
Now, go
just,
for it.
no, I'll just read it word for word. You just were saying how Matthew highlights the absolute worst of the worst to introduce the best of the best. And I think that's a great way to, like, it doesn't matter where you've come from or things that were out of your control of who your family was, or, Jesus is still for everybody who recognize that I'm a sinner and I need Jesus. And then there's still a plan for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I like that.
I also, I wrote it like this in blue at the end. I go, this was the line into which God's son was born. Jesus' genealogy makes it clear. Not that there were a few disrespectable people in his family tree, but all of them were sinners. God sent his son as savior for all people. Jews, Gentiles, men and women, no matter what the sin of the people, God's plan was never thwarted. It continues to unfold. That plan includes you. If you can call yourself a sinner, then you're invited. And then, I mean, you keep reading that. If you would read, like, this is a doozy of a homework project for sure. But if you would read through all those names, you just pause, why is their name in there? Like, you're going to come down, the next woman that's announced in Jesus' genealogy, do you know who it is, Dwayne?
Let's see.
Ooh, come on.
It would be Bathsheba. It would be
Bathsheba's the third. So you're got three.
Bathsheba's the third.
So you got to get
Ruth,
the middle one.
Not Ruth. It's the prostitute.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. Look at you.
Good job, Dwayne.
Dwayne. Coming in clutch right there.
Dwayne, you're good.
Pinch hitter right there. Boom. Okay. So, hey, I'm just saying, you just get a star today by your name. At the end of this, I'm going to put a star by your name. You're just a good student today. Okay. If you read the King James version of Matthew's lineage, they call her the harlot. What is her?
Rahab?
Rahab the harlot.
Rahab, yeah.
Rahab the harlot is her name in the King James. Now, we polish it up a little bit more in NIV, but the harlot, it just sounds so nasty.
Well, when you say it that way, I mean, it does, but it's like you harlot.
Okay, but she's in Jesus' lineage. Here's the wild bit, everybody, and I'm going to leave this as a little bit. I'm just going to put the ball on the tee for you to go do a little bit of homework. She's not even an Israelite, and she makes it into the genealogy of Jesus. How's that even happen?
It's wild.
Her life is preserved when the Israelites are coming in to take over Jericho. And because of the redeeming qualities of God, she was not, though we call her the harlot or the prostitute, she was redeemed out of that and then put in, I just think this is so good, put into the genealogy of Jesus. That he redeems our past and our story. He always has, always will. Stop being defined by what you did. It breaks my heart when people go, you don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't. I wasn't you. Maybe if I had all the same facts and the same situation going on, the same emotions, I might have done the same thing you've done. I don't know, but I wasn't there. All I know is that Jesus redeems our past. So stop living in embarrassment by it. Jesus is not embarrassed. Jesus, his whole past is put on. Oh, yeah. Like, I think if I do my math right, our harlot friend here, Rahab the harlot, what did I tell you the other day? She's 20 generations his grandma. So it'd be...
You said to the power or whatever.
Yeah, like 20 times great-grandma. So you'd have to say great, all the way up to 20. That would be... I don't know if that matters to you, but there's...
That'd be Tamar?
No,
Rahab.
But she's in his story.
Wild.
This whole genealogy thing that Matthew sets up to start the Christmas story, this is a testament to God's prevailing mercy. For even the most flawed and sinful of men and women can be used and blessed by God, not because of their merits, but because of his grace and the power of repentance. And that, everyone, is the Christmas story. And we leave you with that today. Like, I know it's not the way in the manger kind of story today, but this is the Christmas story. The whole point of it. How messy it is and all the nuances of just humans being stupid humans. And Jesus is saying, hey, this is my story. This is my family. This is where I'm from. Doesn't mean that's where I'm going. I ask you this one question. Can you call yourself a sinner? And if you do, Can you repent? Because Jesus came to call sinners like you and me to repent. And we see through his lineage, we see throughout all the other stories in the Bible, that the craziest stories in past, he says, no big deal. I can forgive that. And he wants to extend that to you. Maybe this past year you did some things in your marriage you regret. And you're embarrassed. And if anyone found out that happened in your marriage, I lied or I cheated, they're big deals. And those people that got hurt, man, my heart goes out to anybody in those things. But also, for you, you got to repent and move away from it. Don't be defined by it. Change. Don't be defined by your past. Change. Because that's why Jesus came. And I hope it's hitting home today. We didn't do very many videos today, and we had them lined up. We just got into the story today. I hope it makes sense, and I hope it's freedom for you today.
Thank you, Jesus.
It was good.
So, Dwayne, thank you for rolling with us and helping us break this down. Again, when you're starting with we're trying to teach people how the criterion of embarrassment is used in grading ancient documents. You know, it's going to be a bit of a doozy, I guess. But thank you for everybody that's been partnering with us over our run here in the holidays. Dwayne, we started out a couple weeks ago where we did 405 pounds of turkey we gave away.
Woo.
Wild. Last week we gave away over 120 heaters to people, like just strangers. Just all needs, meat needs. By the time this airs, we'll have paid for people and invited them to church ice skating this evening. So this church is doing some things to be a light in the darkness, to be able to point people to Jesus throughout this holiday season. And so it's fun to share what we're doing. Last week, I think the grand total of the cost of the heaters that we gave away, the total we have a little over around 200. That's $15,000. So we have, 50 left or so. So you're looking around $10,000 or so of heaters this church gave away. I just want people to see the numbers and see what Unlock Church is doing, is that we're not talking about being a church. We're not playing or pretending. We are being the church that Jesus has asked us to be. And we're grateful for everybody's generosity. We're thankful for people that bought turkeys and we went and gave them to our local shelter here. I thank you for those that told people and shared people about the heaters up here. Thank you for those that bought tickets at the ice skating and went and talked to a stranger and said, hey, I'm going to pay for your ice skate rental, and they're looking, why would you do that? Well, Jesus came to serve and not be, I get how that invite goes, but we gave the opportunity for that. So I just thank you. If you want to continue to partner with us in your generosity, this time of year we're doing greatest gift. We're just challenging people, hey, think about for a moment to give a gift to God. Yes, it comes through the church, but the heart of it is, man, God, I've got all these Christmas lists going here, and I want to be able to participate in giving you a gift this holiday season through my tithes, which is already your 10% of what you make. Offering is above that, outside that, and giving you an opportunity to give your greatest gift. That could be, some people are taking it literally. Lily and I have been using the illustration of if you buy an Xbox, it's $500, give $501, but maybe that's not realistic for you. But it's putting God in the conversation this holiday season of giving a special gift. You can do that very simply, Lily, how here at Unlock Church?
You can go to unlockchurch.com/give and click the button there, or you can text the word unlock to 77977. And then when you follow those steps, there is a drop down, and just make sure you click greatest gift so that it specifies to that.
Okay. It was pretty simple. Dwayne, do you remember that on December 22nd? I think it's the date that we're going live.
Next week.
Next Sunday we're going live.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Live?
We're going live. 8 a.m.
Yeah.
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Live
We'll be here.
with you all.
We'll be live on that Sunday, right before Christmas. And then we will have a Christmas Eve service online as well. That will be at 8 a.m. on Christmas Eve. And then 10 a.m. we are live here in the Twin Cities. Dwayne, we'd love to have your family up here. We know that's a bit of a jaunt on Christmas Eve to drive or fly. So we understand. But just know that you're invited. You and your polar bear shirt. You're invited.
But only if you wear the polar bear shirt.
Only if you wear it.
Only for the
kidding.
boat.
Yeah.
It's a short sleeve, so I might have to wear other things
You're going to have to.
over the.
You're going to have to
polar
do
bear
that.
shirt.
It is frigidly cold here.
It is. Woo.
Whew. Dwayne, anything else to add before we sign off today?
Nope.
Okay. Holly, got anything to add in your Christmas
As you're
turtleneck?
finishing up, as you're finishing up your Christmas shopping, all those good fun things, your plans, enjoy.
Thought it was
I was
be
like,
more.
what's she gonna
Yeah,
say?
where's she headed? How about Elf Lily today? Anything you want to add?
Elf Lily. I don't know how I look like an elf, but no, Merry Christmas. See you next week.
See you next week, everybody. 8 a.m. live right here. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Bye.
Dwayne, thanks for being with us. Bye.